that constant anxiety and depression that I had to live through is gone now.
Edvard, how did you find Carnivore?
A really good question, and the short answer for that is curiosity or skepticism, because I've always been a skeptical guy. Even that, I mean, I guess I can even start it from the very beginning by looking at this little kid, me, who was always tried to come up with something. I always had overthinking thoughts here and there just coming in, and the best way I was able to stop them, or at least pause them, is by talking about something that is, well, I guess I can say it as unusual. I'll put down glasses. Unusual. I mean, like, I came up to my mother and I always had these, regular questions like, what is life? Why do I exist? Is there a role for me? Is there a goal to go for? Is there anything for me to do or nah? And well, these questions have never been answered, at least from my mother. My father, my relationship with my father was a little different. But that's how I started, and that's how I continued. I found the internet. The internet was basically the best way for me to just get more curious. When I found out psychology was my main interest in terms of helping myself, and with that help that I was able to give for me, I thought, why not give this knowledge to others too? So that's how I started this journey, and uh, over time, of course, your life is a challenge in general. You will face with many challenges constantly. Whenever you finish one of them, another one will come in, and I I did not pay attention to, well, nutrition, or just in general, whatever my mother made. It is cabbage soup, which was a main and still a traditional food for us here in the village. Is basically, you get the cabbages, the sauerkraut kind of thing, but it's not sliced up. It's like still full pieces. You make little meatballs with bread and rice and with black pepper, and then salt it with this grocery store salt that is now it gives me headaches and bloating, and oh my god. And that meatball, as it's done, it is wrapped with these cabbage pieces, put in the big pot filled with water, and this gets cooked for. It depends. If you'd like it a little bit more soft, you don't want to cook it so much, then it's just the 30 minutes. If you want it cooked well, then it's an hour. So that is a traditional food that we always had. Uh, Other foods, I guess, paste. It's the made out of liver kind of thing, but it's actually not made out of liver. It is something else too. Yeah, many ingredients in there. Uh, Many kinds of food ideas that my mom came up with that of course, I did not realize that those were giving me, well, damage to my body. And so, as I graduated from elementary, I mean middle school, uh, this was going on with many family issues. That is a main thing that I always said. And just to point out, I always have been skinny. I was never having issue with weight, or even when it came to weight loss, I never really ate breakfast. It was not a main thing in my library. However, my grandma and even my mother has always told me that it is the essential part of your day. If you're not eating breakfast, if you're not having it, then you're just gonna be weak and whatever. I'm like, well, I do not feel that. I skip the breakfast and I'm feeling amazing. What's about that? With this, at least, I was able to, I guess, balance my health, because I never understood that I skipped the breakfast and I felt better without it. I was never able to get the answer, especially that at the time I was not good at English at all, Hungarian. And so over time, as I've got better with, how to say, focus, because I was specifically focusing on one thing. I'm not good with, how do you say, multitasking. There you go. I'm not good with multitasking. I am the kind of person that looks into one thing. I'm only focused on this. I'll finish this first and then the next, whatever thing it is. And so first focus, another time language, another time making sure that my thoughts get closed into one, so I won't have to deal with them so much because of overthinking. But over time, of course, I was not able to handle that so much, so it's just a mess in my head, which is another thing. My brain is always has been like, I had a sentence that I really wanted to share, and it went so well, but then and then I start doing that. The control is not being it's not being controlled well, and so I did not pay attention to these little details like the breathing, which recently, as I went into Carnivore, I have recognized that this breathing thing has helped me a lot. But going back, so the family stuff has been chaotic here and there. My relationship with my father has never been so bright. One example that I can tell is I was in the kitchen, sitting on the table, just drawing, just a little cute because I love drawing and making poems, artistic guy kind of thing. And I tried to express my wish, because at the time whenever I was drawing, it was more about the wish. I wish I could live in this situation. I wish I could have this and that. And so that moment I was drawing about just me and my family being together with a lonely house, just being happy with this bright sun, surrounded with nature. And well, my father came in as far as I can remember, he came in because he wanted to drink water. I was showing him my drawing, and the reaction was basically, "You gotta be better than that. I'm not proud of you." Blah, blah, blah. Negativity. And so, of course, I've got sad. And the next day, my mother asked my father, "What did you do to our son?" Because my father thought that as I was going into my room with my sadness, he thought I'm going to attack him. So he's just, with a reflection, she my neck down to the ground, and then saying, "You don't do that." I'm like, okay. I don't know what thoughts went through your head, but I was not about to attack you or anything. And well, with I guess just to save the day, as my mom asked him the question, to save the day, our son was the issue. He is the victim. I was the victim. He was the thing. He looked at me as some kind of prey. I'm like, I'm speechless. I really don't know what to say to this. So with this amount of
Sorry,
trauma,
how old were you at the time?
that between 10 and 12. Uh, the reason why I say 10, but from between 10 and 12 is because these were the years when things just happened for some reason. Many. My relationship with my father and mother just got worse. I have found new friends that I felt very confident with. I was like, they saved my life, basically, even though I was still struggling. But the best part of that moment for me was that I realized that I just have to search, right? If you're searching, you're gonna find it, whatever you'd like to find. And the group I found, they gave me freedom, basically. This friendship has still to this day is strong. We are still together. We are so different, but damn, we are sharing our life in many ways, our feelings and emotions and thoughts. And with all that, we made a great connection between us, even though it's like I am the quietest kid in the group. Yeah, these years, even the dreams that came in, the the amount of nightmares I had at these times, especially that one when I was surrounded with no, it started up with me being in my room. It's totally bright white outside, and the raptors wants to come in the house, and I'm running into the kitchen. uh, I can see them coming in. They try to break in. I run out, then darkness here and there, and then what I recognize is that I'm running away from my home for some reason, even though everything else just disappeared. Only the house was the visible thing. It's like, those movies or cartoons, drawings, whenever the character is slowly walking away out of that space, and everything slowly gets like it's an unfinished drawing. It's just blank white. It was like that. And I was never able to, I guess, answer the question for myself, because many questions that never been answered. Uh, it was later on that I was able to answer is all the trauma in one place in my brain were the raptors and everything else. And they made me scared, and all of these wanted me to just go away, Ed. The dream basically just said, go away, run, save yourself, do something for yourself. Which at the time I was not thinking about that. What always came in is just tolerance, toleration. Tolerate it as much as you can. It doesn't matter how much it is going to make you feel pain. The suffering doesn't matter. Just feel it. Just tolerate it. And, well, uh, but at the time, I was like, well, I guess I'll just do it. If that's my role, if that's my uh, for reason of existence, then I'll go for it, whatever. And so over time, later on, my situation got a little bit more interesting because my brothers came in. The first one came in. That was 2010. I was very jealous when he came in. My father always called him as a treasure.
Sorry, could you just clarify, when you say came in, did you mean he was born?
He was born. He was born. That was 2010, November 14th, 15th. He born at that date. He was being called as a treasure by my father. My mother, well, of course, always made sure that there is some kind of balance in the family, especially the amount of time she wanted to leave the house and wanted to, well, she did not tell me that at the time, but she wanted to divorce. Which never happened. That was 2 times. The first time I was 8 or 9. The second time I think that's 12 or 13. Yeah, it's around that time when the second, which, so to explain what happened is, my mom comes to my father saying, we can't handle that. If you're not stopping that now, then we are going to leave. And my father did not go face to face to my mother and say, please don't do that. No, he went to me. Which was weird. Why are you going to me? Every time you're being so negative towards me with all of these, your ideas that you have in your head, just in my throat, and whatever things you want to do with me, coming towards me saying, please don't leave, please don't leave. And of course, the only best way I was able to react to that is cry and get sad and not say anything. And my mom is like, oh, whatever, we'll stay, we'll tolerate it, we'll do it. But both of the times, it was the same, just like that. Yeah, that's but again, things, at least for me, got a little bit worse. When my first brother was born, I got jealous because of he's being called as a treasure, and I'm still being treated as some kind of, I don't know, as a thing. Whenever you, it's like the same situation when you have your dog, pet, and you're not giving meat, but you're giving like a bowl of bread that is being soaked with water, which is the worst thing you could give for your children and even for your pet. Is the best way I can describe. I was treated like that. And then later on, my second brother came in. That's 2012. May 10, if I remember. I'm slowly forgetting. But it's that time he was born. My second brother. Then I was angry. I was very angry. I was not liking that. Especially, I was coming up to my parents like, why didn't you not tell me that you'd like to have more children in the family? Am I not enough, really? Am I really just a failure? I guess the best way I can describe it, like, it was giving me headaches. It was giving me more sadness and more trauma. And so, of course, accepting the fact that they are now here. I have to be with them. I have to pay attention. I have to, well, change the diaper and other things. Uh, which was like a year or 2 years later. So that was, I was 14 or 15. Between that time, 14 or 15 years later, it was not about me accepted that this is the thing that I have to live with. It was the fact that I've just got used to it. Because that's two different things, right? Getting used to it and just accept it. I was even sharing this with my friends. They were like, well, we don't know what to say to that, but hey, if you can still tolerate it, then hopefully whenever you get to high school, then the situation will get better for you. And well, I was wishing for that. I even made a wish for myself when I had my birthday on my 13th birthday. The wish was basically just, I want to get better so much that I might get to the point where no one's really get interested in me or something like that. The interest was specifically to my beloved ones. Like everyone is just going to look at me as some thing that is just here or something. But I've got to high school, situations here and there, a girlfriend on my third class. I graduated from high school. Then that was 2018. Yeah, that was 2018 when I graduated from there. I was searching for work here and there. First here in my village, it's like a day work when you just go to a family and help them with what you can. Mostly here, the help you can give for people is going out to the field. It was mostly garlic and pepper and onion and apple. These kinds of things that I was able to help. I've got the money. I've got out to Hungary because I'm in Serbia actually. That's why I was born. Yeah. So I've got out to Hungary. Yeah. From factory to another factory. Working here and there. I was giving my try as much as I can. But the moment, especially before I got out to Hungary, the reaction of my father was basically, as we were eating on the table, as you're gonna stay? You're gonna do the same like me? Whatever. It was basically what he was saying is, you gotta be the same just like me. He's saying, you gotta do the same thing just like I do, and everything else. You're gonna stay here and live forever here. I stood up and I basically just said to him, hey, gotta be a little bit loud. Hey, the F word, and I don't care about your thoughts. Go away. I'm gonna do my thing. Dang. And he's like the table and getting so angry and saying, you're not gonna do that. No way. But my mom came in and, well, supported the idea that Ed has to, I miss most of the time Ed or Eddie, my nickname. I support his idea. I think there's a future of that. You do have to go out and give a try. You have to. He had been living there for now 18, 19 years. Let him have some kind of freedom. Let him see world, right? And I looked up to my mom and said, thank you so much.
So, sorry, just to jump in and clarify. So, this family situation was in Serbia and you left Serbia. Now you're in Hungary.
Now I'm Serbia again. So
Ah,
uh, after I graduated from high school, so that was 2018. That was between October and November when I got out to my first workplace, Hungary, right? That was 8 months when I was there. Uh, I went back home once, and that once when I came back, I was not being told that my mom divorced from our father. And that happened at 2019 January. Uh, so basically, I got out, I started my journey by myself, right? Uh, I tried to be as affordable with food as much. So now is the time when I was like paying more attention to little details, such as the food. The food was basically just pizza and was that cornflake or whatever corn, whatever the puffies. I think that's some kind of puffy. Both the paprika, I mean the red pepper flavored aroma, bleh, whatever the thing was that. So I was eating both of these things every time, every day. And when I've got out to the workplace, I'll get back to that divorce thing pretty soon. Uh, when I went into the workplace, I mostly did not eat that much. Or even when I ate something that was one yogurt, that's around 170 grams, one plastic cup. Oh, I can't remember specifically, but it's around there. It's a little treat and uh, croissant. I don't know how to say it. Good for la croissant filled with pudding and filled with, eh, the whatever thing they put it in there. At the time, it was good. It was fine. I was eating it pretty much. It's the same every day. I went into that workplace. That was what I was eating. Um, but over time, again, 2019 January, I was not so told about the divorce, and the first person who was telling me this is my father, not my mom. And I was expecting my mom to say it first because, you have that expectation of whenever you're making a move, your friend, your beloved one, whatever, we're expecting it to be told to you. But I'm not being, at least from my father, but uh, I don't know. But uh, at the same time as the divorce happened, that girlfriend that I mentioned from high school, that this girl also sent me a message like, give me another chance, please. I think you're a really good friend. I'm not feeling good. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll give you another chance. And that did not turn out so well. Yeah, 5 years of chaos with her. But which 5 years? So that's 2023 December when we totally ended. I'll get to this later. So I went back home. That was my birthday, April 3rd, 2019. I turned 20. And as I've got back home, I've got my cake and gifts and whatever. And I mean my mom, she got a boyfriend immediately as the divorce happened. She found him, and I'm not gonna get into that detail. that another thing also gave me trauma. Just there's no way that be able to forget about that. It's just from verse to verse, slowly. But whatever. Toleration, right? It's about toleration. Just tolerate it, just suffer with it. Yeah, let's go, baby. Uh, I was going with it, I guess. 8 months into this workplace, first workplace, I got back home. I got an invitation from my mother's brother, who is out in Canada, uh, working in Tesla. He gave me basically he was asking me if I would like to get out there to Canada to see things and help a little, because I was told that his wife needs a little bit of help in that pastry store. And I said, why not? All right, I'll do it. That was, oh, so the first workplace ended around June 14th or 15th, between that time. And I've got out to Canada in August. That's the same, like 15th, 16th. I was there for 4 months. It was fine. And I say fine because the fact that I lost my sight when I saw those huge buildings. I mean, you're getting used to your village with your small little hut or house, and everything is small. Then you're a big, huge, whatever place you were, and everything is I don't know how much times bigger buildings with many different kinds of people. Like I can't explain it so well. It's an experience that I can recommend to anyone. But but again, the reason why I say fine is because even though I had such a great time there, all the trauma is just not going to go away so easily. You can't forget the wound is still there. You can't heal it all the way. A little fun is not going to heal it. The best way that I might have been able to deal with that is if I stay home, I guess, and look into myself, because I did know that the source that this trauma comes from is from inside and not outside. It did not matter how many times I looked at myself in the mirror saying, my skin is not looking good. The skin is just falling off from my ears. These little details that I recognized on my skin, my hair was a mess. Dandruff like 90%, 95%, and not just from my hair, but even from my eyebrows and mustache, and just I was so disappointed. And even when I tried to talk with my mom's brother and his wife, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stay quiet because I'm really good at it. Staying quiet, not speaking up or getting attention. I was really good at it, still pretty good at it. But at the time, I thought that is the best solution to avoid anything that is related to, how to say, like argument or like a serious talk. I was not so open to serious talks, even though I was still interested in psychology, but no. But but yeah, journey continues. I've got back home from Canada. Then that was the big event. COVID-19. in 2020. Let's go. Uh, yeah, 2020 was a special year. It's I'm saying special not because it was such a huge disgrace. I was not able to reach my goals, and that girlfriend of mine, was just giving me more headaches. I was angry and getting more angry than ever. It was it was not that reason why that year was so special. No, it's because I was able to recognize how much I was angry not to others but to myself. And the reason why I was able to recognize this is because whenever trauma, whenever overthinking, these thoughts comes in, uh, what I what I start to talk about, especially when it comes to mom or father or brothers or friends, whatever, I'm like, why I'm not so being confident, why I'm not really paying attention to myself, why I'm not improving, why I'm not destroying myself, why I'm not making myself happy. Anything. Let me feel anything. Because I was not able to feel anything. It's especially that time. So COVID came in. I'm like, okay, we need to come up with an idea. So with these two guys, we thought, you know what? Okay, let's go to this city. We might have a chance here. I go to this factory. Nothing. They say nothing for a month, even though they say to you like, we will let you know. We'll give you the methods. It will be awesome. And I'm like, this is technically meaning you're and I just had to get used to that. I have to learn from that, and I needed more experience. So basically, I was paying much more attention to the things around me and not to myself, and I was just getting more angrier as I said. But whatever. That was 8 months worth of head boy living in such disgrace, especially that the fact that me and those boys, when we got to that city, I was living like well, the best way I can describe is I took the ba- baggage, some kind of big baggage for the trash or plastic, whatever thing it is. I was walking around the city searching for those cans that you can find from sodas and beers, and collecting them, hopefully that I can exchange them for money. And whenever I found anything that is food related from the trash can, I took it and I cooked it if I can. I cleaned it as I was able, because of course you will see a little bit of dog turd and other turds in those places that I'm not gonna get into details. It is disgusting, but I was doing.
Where were you at this point?
So that is still Hungary that I'm in. So the second time I went out, that's again Hungary. So I was at home when I got back from Canada, and that was February 2020 February. It was around the end of February when I got back to Hungary into this another workplace, which was fine, whatever. But that was 8 months being in Hungary again, but living like someone who does not have a home and have to live with the food that you can find outside wherever you just walk. It was not always the trash cans. When I saw a little bit of potato on the ground, I took it and bring that back home and cook it if I can, because that stove and microwave in that place I found, that was damn terrible. But like whatever, it was fine. So it was my situation in that city with those guys. I got out to Hungary. It went whatever. I had the experience. I got back home uh, from that. Then another time I went back to Hungary to work in that another factory. That was 2021. That was 1 year and a half. That's uh, yeah, 2023 December, the last workplace that I was in, and that was the same time when I had the situation with my girlfriend. Um, we ended it. That's it. Leave me alone. No trauma needed anymore. And that was in 2023. That was the time when the big thing comes in, which is I have found Dr. Ekberg, or yeah, something like that. It's I think it's Dr. Ekberg, or I won't be able
There's
to
two. There's
remember.
two that sound the same. There's Dr. Berg and Dr. Ekberg.
Yes, it's Berg. It's Berg. Yes, Berg. Thank you. It's Berg that I've got introduced to, and I was so amazed of the information that he's giving that I'm like, where to start? This is too much for me, too much information to me to process, especially with this brain. And so I thought, you know what? He says that all these veggies are really good choices. So I'm like, all right, I'll follow your advice. I was eating many kinds of veggies. I was eating nuts, especially peanuts. I was eating those like organic cornflakes and organic this, and it's some kind of snacks that are being sold as some keto awesome and vegan and natural and whatever. So I've got my veggies, tomatoes, potatoes, uh, mushrooms, really a lot. Bread, of course, I do not have to forget about the bread. And 2020, that's still 2023. I think I said it wrong. I ended this workplace on 2022 December. All right, I'm awesome. So 2023, I decided I'm gonna come back home and I'm going to help myself and my brothers, because that's another story that I don't think that it is needed to be said. I decided I'm gonna get into this whole nutrition thing because I have no idea of this nutrition, whatever thing it is. And man, that slowly, I was adapting myself from one to another. Only veggies raw. Second time, veggies cooked in a pan with this cover again, cover with the cover, cooking them this way, and then not soaking them with water. Another time, just eating them from the bag. The eggs, cooking them this way and that way, and different kinds of exercise tips, and just to help myself somehow. And that was October when I've got introduced to Carnivore, thanks to Dr. Sten Ekberg. This time, Sten Ekberg. Holistic doctor, never heard of that. He is explaining it is so well with details, getting into the main thing, the main source that you need to know, and I'm like, I'm sold. I like that. So let's get into it. And he did mention Carnivore. Not so much because, as far as I can understand, he is still focusing on the, how to say, it's like a, he's like a
I think
friendly
he's
teacher.
yeah, I think he's more keto focused, but talks about carnivore sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, that's the reason why I say like a friendly teacher. He's not going to specifically get into this or that, but he can tell you for a fact that it is helping you. Much better choice than an ultra processed whatever sunflower oil or seed or vegetable oil you can find, and a much better choice than those donuts and whatever thing you like, snacks and biscuits. And then slowly it was you, then Dr. Camberry, then slowly Dr. Anthony Chaffee, then Sean Baker, then Eric Westman, then right now my personal favorite doctor is Robert Sivas, the Carb Addict doc. Damn, I love his humor and the way he explains all these information about your body and carbs and what it harms you. And now is the point, is that the moment I went into carnivore, I have to say it completely changed my lifestyle so much that if you remember the wish I told at the beginning, which I had on my 13th year, yeah, nor my grandma is liking me that much, nor my father is really liking the idea that I'm having and I'm doing, nor my mother, nor her boyfriend. Only my brothers, who are the ones that are somewhat supporting the idea of paying attention to your body and health. And that's at the beginning of January, I was more of a keto war. Like, I ate lots of meat, but with potatoes and onions and I think sauerkraut and a little bit of cheese. But over time, I was experimenting here and there. First, just the pan with the cover, cooking the meat as much as I would like to, salting it. I was still eating cheese at the time. That was February. And, slowly I was eliminating even the cheese itself, even the salt itself. But what I always did is every now and then I'm reintroducing something. So, like, I had the wedding on April, and they cooked the meat with sunflower oil. And I'm like, I guess hopefully I'll be able to tolerate it. And, well, it did give me a little bit of pain in my stomach. It was like an unnatural pain. It felt like I have to go to the toilet, but at the same time, I did not have to. It was just there. And I was still having that urge of, I want to eat more. So that was not a good sign at all. So with all of these experiments over time, I think it was the end of March, beginning of April, when I decided to change cooking from pan to oven. So I'm just taking the thing, putting in the chicken back. Yeah, nowadays I'm eating chicken back with neck. If I'd like to chicken heart with gizzard or only gizzard, because heart is still in 1 kilogram of chicken heart, there's at least 1 gram of carbs. I've got so sensitive to carbs, man. Dave, I've got so sensitive to it. Like, it's
So, I'm interested to know what has changed for you since you've been doing carnivore.
the biggest change. The skin at the back of my ears has always been getting dry and bleeding. And it was so irritating. I tried not to scratch it. And, well, at the time it was always bleeding, and now, nothing. My dandruff, there's like 10% of dandruff here and there. And a little funny detail is my mustache. This part here has never grown all the way, so it was like an irritating little part that was like, when I saw myself on the mirror or looking at the webcam, I'm seeing that little spot and now it's fully grown. I have a full beautiful mustache and weird. uh, sweating sweating that I always hated, sweating from my ears, from my armpit, from my fingers, from my legs. Now, no sweating at all. If I would sweat, that would be like I don't know. If I do a marathon running, then I would sweat a little bit, not so much, just a little sweating. Nah, really. And not to forget, of course, yeah, my brain. Yeah, my brain is really thanking me for what decision I made. And that is thanks all because of my skepticism, because I'm being curious of such truth that is out there, the truth that you need, the truth that is always have been there, and I was blinded, and now I'm very happy. I'm so happy with this piece.
Sorry, just to clarify, when you talk about your brain or mental improvements, is that like it's you mentioned a few things before. So you talked about thinking about lots of things at once, and you talked about lack of focus and things like that. Are those things that have improved?
All of these has improved. My focus, damn. Now making a music project is like, it's just that. At the time, it took me at least a year to, how to say, recognize the answer. That constant anxiety and depression that I had to live through is gone now.
That's awesome. That's really good. So what does the future hold for you? What are your plans for the future?
My future is I'm staying carnivore. I'm going to continue this. I might not be a nutritionist right now, but I am listening to not just to you and with the person that you're having talk with, and but also listening to all of these doctors, learning and learning and learning. And the amount of things that I have learned so far, it makes me feel much more confident. Like whenever I get into a chatting game or room, I have these conversations with different kinds of people, and I was able to like give them how to say, like thinking. They are like thinking about it, and they find it interesting. They're like, this sounds really interesting. I might consider to try it out. And I'm like, give it a try. And I'm like, still mentioning many other details that is really good for you whenever you're just only eating meat, fatty meat. And even my brothers, again, They are liking the idea. They are surprised of how darker my uh, hair got, and so smooth and feels amazing. And even the skin, it feels more puffy, but it's a good kind of puffy. Like it was always like a but now it's puffy, and whenever I smile, it's a much more beautiful smile that brings me joy. And just seeing the joy even in their faces is makes me feel peace, which I always needed. Peace is never have been that much of an option before, but now I just want to live with this peace. I want this calm mind. Now I need that. I need to get out all of that, what happened before. So, yes, the future is a peaceful life with, I don't know, the best way I can describe is like dangerous peace. It's like I'm still surrounded with many challenges and damn, like, ah, but I'm gonna face with it. I'm not afraid, I'm not scared, I'm gonna get into it. And hey, wellness warriors, let's get into it. We gotta make it. We gotta win the war.
Nice. So, Ed, how can people reach out to you? Do you have a YouTube or an Instagram?
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel, just like how I wrote it, at Boy99. I have also Twitter, or well, X. I do have Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, but what I mostly use, if some of the people is interested, is Twitter and YouTube. Both of them, I'm very active.
On Twitter, you're EdBoy99 as well?
Edboy99, yes, but with using not the Edboy99, but like Edoxer official. It's EDOXER official under it. I don't know how do you say this A at the beginning. This
At.
that I wrote at.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll link to those below. And Ed, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
You're well welcome. Thank you for having me.